The silence following the crash at the Bugatti circuit was not just the sound of a lost race, but the sound of a factory's reputation fracturing under the weight of an invisible flaw. The 2026 French Grand Prix was supposed to be the moment Francesco Bagnaia reclaimed his throne. Starting from pole position, the Italian rider demonstrated why he is a double world champion, showing incredible composure after a disastrous start that saw him swallowed by the mid-pack. However, as the race reached its critical phase on lap 16, the narrative shifted from a heroic comeback to a technical mystery. Bagnaia, who had clawed his way back to second place, suddenly found himself sliding into the gravel at the first chicane. While spectators initially assumed it was a standard unforced error under pressure, Bagnaia's post-race testimony suggested a far more clinical cause. He explicitly stated to international media that human error played no part in the incident. This statement is a direct challenge to the Ducati engineering team, placing the burden of proof on the machinery rather than the pilot. In the high-stakes world of MotoGP, where every sensor and millisecond of data is scrutinized, such an admission suggests a catastrophic loss of confidence in the motorcycle's hardware. The paddock is now buzzing with speculation regarding the stability of the Ducati GP26, a bike that appears to be sabotaging its own riders at the limit. As the dust settled in France, the focus shifted from the points table to the internal diagnostic logs of the Ducati Lenovo team, as they scrambled to explain how their leading star was betrayed by his own machine in front of a global audience of millions. Investigating the telemetry reveals a haunting similarity to the events in Spain, suggesting a recurring ghost in the machine that the factory is struggling to exorcise. Journalists and technical analysts have noted a disturbing trend following the Le Mans incident. This was not an isolated mechanical failure, but a carbon copy of the disaster that struck Bagnaia during the previous round at the Spanish Grand Prix. When a rider of Bagnaia's caliber suffers identical front-end issues in 2 consecutive races, it indicates a fundamental flaw in the 2026 technical package. Bagnaia described a vague sensation that gradually worsened over 7 laps, stripping him of the front feel necessary to navigate high-speed corners. This phenomenon, often linked to the interaction between the new aerodynamic wings and the braking software, turns a championship-winning bike into a liability. The fact that the Ducati Lenovo squad failed to rectify this known issue in the 14 days between Jerez and Le Mans points to a deeper struggle within the development department. Some insiders suggest that the team's push for radical innovation in the GP26 has resulted in a bike that is fast on a single lap but unstable over a race distance. For the engineers in Bologna, the pressure is now critical. They are no longer just fighting the clock, they are fighting a loss of trust from their primary rider. If the data from Le Mans confirms that the front-end geometry or electronic mapping is inherently flawed, the team faces a race against time to redesign core components before the championship lead becomes insurmountable for their riders. While the Red Garage is consumed by internal audits, the Knoll Revolution has officially seized the momentum, turning the 2026 title race into a nightmare for the incumbent champions. The technical turmoil at Ducati has opened a massive corridor for their rivals to exploit, and no one has capitalized on this more than Aprilia. The French Grand Prix saw an unprecedented 1-2-3 lockout for the Knoll-based factory, a result that would have been unthinkable just 2 seasons ago. Jorge Martin, the man who walked away from the Ducati family after his 2024 triumph, spearheaded this assault, proving that his transition to the RSGP has been flawless. Alongside him, championship leader Marco Bezzecchi has shown the kind of consistency that Bagnaia currently lacks. The contrast in the paddock is stark. While Ducati riders are seen huddled with technicians over crash data, the Aprilia garage is a picture of serene efficiency. Analysts point to Aprilia's superior handling in the final sectors of the race as the key differentiator. They have found a balance that allows their riders to maintain tire life and front-end stability even as track temperatures fluctuate. This shift in power dynamics is a significant blow to the Ducati Lenovo team, who have enjoyed years of near-total dominance. The 2026 season was predicted to be a victory lap for the Ducati, but instead, it is turning into a defensive struggle. With every race that passes where Ducati fails to secure a podium, the Knoll Revolution grows stronger, and the psychological advantage shifts further away from Bologna. The question is no longer if Ducati can win, but if they can even keep pace with the surging Aprilia machines. The factory's defense is further crippled by a medical emergency, leaving the most successful rider on the grid in a hospital ward rather than on the start line. Compounding Ducati's technical woes is a human crisis that has left the team operating at half strength. Marc Marquez, the 8-time world champion and a cornerstone of Ducati's 2026 strategy, was absent from the French Grand Prix following a violent high side during the Saturday sprint. While the crash itself was significant, the aftermath revealed a more complex medical narrative. Reports from Madrid confirm that Marquez has undergone a complex double surgery at the Roubaix International Hospital. Beyond the fracture sustained in France, surgeons work to address a chronic nerve compression in his shoulder caused by a loose hardware component from a previous operation. This underlying issue explains Marquez's uncharacteristic struggles with consistency earlier this year. However, his absence creates a massive leadership void within the garage. With Marquez confirmed to miss the upcoming Catalan Grand Prix, Bagnaia is left to carry the entire factory's weight alone. This isolation puts immense pressure on the Italian rider, who must now serve as both the primary development tester and the sole championship contender. The absence of Marquez's feedback also hampers the team's ability to solve the GP26's technical glitches, as they lack a second data point from a world-class rider. As Marquez begins his recovery in Spain, the Ducati Lenovo team finds itself in its most vulnerable state in recent history, missing its star signing and facing a mechanical rebellion from its lead bike. All eyes now turn to Catalonia, where the red team must deliver a technical miracle or admit that their 2026 campaign is sliding toward a historic failure. The upcoming round in Barcelona is no longer just another race. It is a final ultimatum for the Ducati Lenovo project. Bagnaia's confidence heading into the event is surprisingly stoic, fueled by his belief that once a problem is identified, it is effectively solved. But the mathematics of the championship are far less forgiving. Currently sitting ninth in the standings, nearly 100 points adrift from the leaders, the double world champion has no more room for error. The technical team in Bologna has been working around the clock since the Le Mans incident, reportedly exploring new front fork configurations and updated electronic braking algorithms to appease Bagnaia's demands for better feel. The Paddock insiders are watching closely to see if Ducati will introduce a radical hardware update or if they will attempt to mask the issues with software patches. The stakes could not be higher. If Bagnaia fails to reach the podium in Barcelona, or worse, suffers another front-end failure, the season may be effectively over for the factory team. This race will serve as a definitive verdict on whether Ducati's engineers can maintain their reputation for excellence or if they have finally reached the limits of their current technical philosophy. As the transport trucks arrive in Spain, the tension is palpable. For Bagnaia, Barcelona represents the chance for a historic turnaround. For Ducati, it is the last stand to prove they can still tame the most volatile machine on the grid. Every lap will be analyzed under the microscopic lens of a global audience waiting to see if the red machine has finally found its soul again.